What's the most badass thing you've accidentally said in the heat of the moment? I am a fourth grade teacher, and one day, I was up at the board and struggling to remember how to spell a particular word. I was trying to make light of it, telling the kids that sometimes adults need help with spelling too. One student replied, "It is because you were poorly educated." But don't worry, we are poorly educated too. Double whammy. Me and my friend were arguing about our friend being a total liar about everything, and he admitted that there's some truth to that, and I just said, "Poor vor motherfucker, I can't even spell that." You know how when you write on a whiteboard and start slanting? Yeah, that's happened in my math class. It slanted so hard and someone commented about how unstraight it was. I said it's straighter than I am. Everyone, even the teacher, started laughing their asses off. I didn't realize the nature of my comment when I wrote it, but in high school, one of my teachers did end-of-the-year anonymous evaluations. Everyone hated him, and I understood why, but I still did well in his class. I wrote, "I don't have any critiques about your teaching, but I think you should work on being a better person." Working retail, a Karen once told me she hoped I die. I was so into work mode that I blankly responded, "I mean, we all die." That's not much of a threat. Maybe it was my lack of intimidation or blank stare, but that really shut her up. In my 10th grade, there used to be a kid who would interrupt teachers in between class. One day he was making weird faces at our chem teacher, and she asked him why he was doing stuff like that, and I whispered to my friend, "His face is naturally like that," except that the whole class was quiet and everyone heard. A couple months ago, my now ex-friend was telling me all the things that were wrong with me, and she finished it with, "And at least I don't have to wear makeup to look pretty." I was so fed up with her shit, so I responded, "At least I am capable of looking pretty." She was speechless, and I felt like such a badass, because this was the first time I ever stood up to her. Got to work one morning, my chosen football team had thrashed my boss's chosen team. I gave him a load of shit for it, humorously of course, my boss is great. He gave me some shit back, and told me to do a stock take on all items we have beginning with the letter C. I pointed at him and said, "1." Luckily, he took it the correct way and laughed a lot. To an aggressive colleague, "I have to repeat myself to my son 20 times a day too, but he's 3 years old. What's your excuse?" One time I popped the blood vessels in my eye and had blood dripping down my face, and some kid says, "Hey man, you're bleeding," to which I responded, "Shit, coulda fooled me." Then I fucked it up by touching my face and seeing the blood and immediately going, "Oh shit, guess you were right." In middle school I had a class simply called reading class, that was taught by a conservative Christian lady. I was reading Jurassic Park and the teacher asked to see my book. I compiled like a good student. The next day she gave it back and said, "You can no longer read this book in this class, because they use God's name in vain." I looked at her square in the eye and replied, "Wouldn't you cuss if dinosaurs were chasing after you?" Respect should be earned, not given. To some old lady at an extended family gathering. She was saying some mean stuff about the homeless where she lived, and I told her how inconsiderate she was. Then she told me to respect her and not rebut her. I was working IT for a company when Network Solutions had a massive DNS outage. My manager, GM of the company, smart, but not IT, asked me what was wrong besides DNS on the host side. My response was, "DNS acts like a phone book, looking up our web address and directing it to the correct place. The phone book is on fire." Fuck me, I'm going to be late after waking up from a concussion that left blood still dripping down my head an hour after, in which period I went and proceeded to sit a history final exam. I met my gay roommate's dad for the first time and he asked me, "Are you keeping him straight?" I said, "No, I'm keeping him out of trouble though." A mate was really drunk and jokingly hitting on our mate's potted plant during a party. He asked if she came here often. I quipped, "Bitch, olive here." It was in fact an olive tree. I came out to my friend as a lesbian. She told me that it was unnatural, so I said, "It's more natural than your tits." We're not friends anymore. I was telling a coworker about an absurd customer interaction I had that day, and in front of everyone he basically called me a liar and said he didn't believe me, and without pause I replied, "Yeah, I'm not Jesus. I don't need you to believe me. I'm just telling you how it is." Not so epic, but I'd figure I'd share. This boy at my middle school thought he was all that, and he picked on me a lot. He was telling the class, "Yeah, I'm going to go home cuddle with a girl by the fire and watch a movie." I had enough of this kid, and I said, "Yeah, moms are pretty great." The kid never picked on me again.